My name is Ethan Haywood. Today we are coming to you from Southwest Michigan at Lumax. We are so excited to have Aaron Gasper and Malissa Reed with us today to talk cow longevity, cow management, and what's going on up here at Lumax. Aaron, Melissa, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys. Thanks for coming. Welcome to the Lumax shop. I know we talked about doing it in the office, but air compressor and every activity, so we've sort of moved things to the shop today.
Yeah, we may be shooting video today, but
fun.
there's cows going through the parlor per usual, right?
Make it happen. Yeah.
Well, Aaron, can you give us just a little bit of background about where we are up here and what we're doing here today?
Yeah. My name's Aaron Gasper. I'm a fifth-generation farmer. We're located just north of Grand Rapids, Michigan, in a town called Belding. So, been here over 100 years, and I have two boys that they're still a little young, but they might be interested. We'll see. We'll see.
And Melissa, can you share a little bit with us about your role and how you work with Lumax?
So I have been working for CentralStar now for about 10 years. I've had the pleasure of working here with Lumax Dairy for the last two. And it's like a great account to work with. Aaron's very progressive, very adaptable to change. So it's been awesome to kind of work with this account.
One question I always get is, what does Lumax mean? Well, my grandpa's name is Louie, and my grandma's name is Maxine, so we've just kept the farm the same, so that's why it's Lumax. That's where that comes from.
I like it, and that's what the prefix is on some of these cows that we see come across lists as well. So it's a fun place to be. It's a place that I'm always looking out for on the DHI list. Always near the top, averaging 7.2 pounds of CFP last year, and we're continuing to push the ceiling on that. You guys are a Repro Star Award winner. The inside walls of the office that we were in earlier is just covered in milk quality awards. Milk quality is a large focus here, and your milk goes to MMPA. So you really excel at a lot of different aspects of dairy farming, not just the genetic portion. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the background to make that happen cowside.
Those are, I appreciate the compliment. Those are just numbers. I'm just lucky. I'm blessed to have good people around me. Just like every business that does good, it's the people behind the scenes. Between my employees, who are just unbelievable, especially this last couple of years, we just seem to have a solid group of people with like financial people, like you guys too. I mean, you guys are the ones that we've bled select sires. I mean, we've been select sires forever. My grandpa always told the story how when they used to have it, the MABC in Lansing, Michigan, how they'd collect fresh bull semens, and the plane would float them down, fly over and float them down. So we've always been solid, and with this combined fat and protein, I mean, we're really striving with those numbers. I mean, 8 pounds solid coming out of here is my new goal. And we're just crouching that all the time.
And we love that this is a place where the accelerator is down. You guys are pushing it. You guys are pushing cows hard to try and maximize their productivity, maximize their health, while also maximizing the reproductive efficiency. It's crazy to think about those days when the semen was coming down on a little white parachute from select sires. And I think now we're pushing some production that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers only could have imagined that the Holstein cow was capable of doing.
Where's it going to end?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know.
Absolutely.
Genetically, we keep leaping bounds, but just where's it going to end? Just unbelievable.
And as we continue to try and increase that production of these individual animals, we're here to talk about cow longevity today, and we want a little more from them on the health and the repro and the production side. Melissa, tell us a little bit about what traits we focus on here at Lumax to try and maximize all of those facets of production.
Mm-hmm. So we have been selecting for HHP for the last couple years. Like you had said earlier, we really have been focusing on milk quality, which you've seen all the awards in the barn. And so we had been really pushing the limits on net merit. And so when we went into a little bit of a problem with mastitis, that was kind of our introduction into HHP dollars.
Yep. And heifer numbers too, right?
And heifer numbers, correct, yes. So once we kind of got our heifer numbers dialed in with a breeding strategy, which I work very closely with Dr. Kelly Sporer on, to implement that into the matings, we could then really utilize HHP dollars in finding our top animals and making sure we get heifers out of those.
So we're utilizing HHP dollars here to dial in and be very purposeful about the genetic progress that we're making. How does that tie in with the actual breeding of animals versus what are we using, sex semen, beef semen? We're a next gen herd here, as we've said, really investing in top genetics. And how has using sex next gen semen allowed you to be flexible within the system?
It took me a little bit to get on board, but that whole heifer inventory, I mean, it's a silent cash flow killer, you know. And as an industry, we keep doing, we just keep getting better and better at breeding animals, getting cows pregnant. And there was a time where, for my 650 cows, you know, we had enough replacements for 1,000 cows here, and it just it put a lot of stress on the whole calf rearing program. It took a little bit for me to be on board, as far as, you know, because we were breeding good cows. In my mind, good cows to beef. You know, I just had a hard time with that. But it's been enough time where the numbers are starting to follow through. I mean, I had to put a lot of trust in the system. And we've adjusted that. Like, we had some cushion where we were in that 130%, and I think we're even lower than that because we just, you know, that's sort of the nice thing about the program, because you can adjust that. If you're selling a lot of heifers or selling replacements or want to grow, you know, that system can be adjusted. So.
And we've talked, you know, the cash that we're getting for beef on dairy calves is pretty awesome for cash flow right now, and that's hard to turn down. But at the same time, you go to bed a little bit anxious when you start breeding what seems like this huge volume of beef semen. And where am I going to put myself in 3 to 4 years? Am I going to have what I need? Melissa, tell us a little bit about all of the input numbers that go into this calculation. We're not just picking a number of units to use, but you're factoring in a lot of things.
Yeah, so we are factoring in your cull rate and your non-completion rate and milk production. I mean, we're literally putting everything into this calculator to really come up with the best number to create the ideal number of heifers that this operation needs in order to be efficient. So pretty much everything that our dairymen are putting into their computer is going into this calculator.
And when you get all that data in and we can get this flow right-sized to where the dairy needs it, it just really aids in the stress and quality of the whole heifer raising system, doesn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, it's just like, before we were cramming the system, right? Now it's just amazing, the growths and you know, it's just, these animals we're just not cramming the system anymore, you know?
And part of the strategy here, if we are raising fewer young stock, but we are increasing the quality of raising that they're getting, we're also increasing the quality of the genetics by being very particular in who we're making those replacements from. We like these cows that we're making. We want them to hang around a little bit longer. To you, what does a cow need to be able to do in order to hang around in the herd as a productive member for a little longer?
So longevity, right? I mean, that the quality of milks, first and foremost, has to be there, and the amount of milk, obviously. But, you know, it's just sort of fun seeing these cows with good udders, good feet and legs, and taking care of them, and they'll last a long time. The program has really helped us to do that. You know, it's amazing when we sit down at our end of the year. We'll sit down with the vet and the nutritionist and the CentralStar team, and we look at those genetic figures. And at first I was a little leery on that in the beginning, but to look at my top 25% and my lower 25%, it's just amazing. There's like almost 2,000 pounds of energy corrected milk there. It's just amazing genetically how much faster that we are growing here.
Yeah, it's an incredible number. And when we're talking about today's margins, 2,000 pounds of energy corrected milk per lactation on a 2-year-old, I mean, that's enormous.
It's good money.
Enormous.
It's a lot of money.
And then we look at your genetic audits and see that it's not just production that we're seeing an advantage in. One of the numbers from your genetic audit I saw that I found very interesting, that top 25% of 2-year-olds versus the bottom 25% according to herd health profit dollars. It was 1.5 services per pregnancy on the top quarter versus 2.0 on the bottom quarter. And that's still a great number, but when we're looking at the cost of goods, the cost of shots, the cost of labor, and the cost of days open, I mean, that's a huge number. What does a half of service mean to you?
Yeah, and that you can roll that down to the other health traits, you can just keep moving that, following that suit. And between my cull rate on my top and my bottom, there's a big number there. It's worth looking at.
And it's a very rewarding thing to sit down and look at these numbers at the end of the year with your team to see all of these little things that you guys are so particular about every day of the year. It makes a difference and allows genetics to express themselves.
Well, Melissa, like the team is what makes that happen. I mean, like I said, we've been involved with Select Sires for a long time, and it just makes it's one less job that I have to worry about.
Right. We live in such a fast-paced industry, especially the genetics game. You've got to have somebody like Melissa on your team to be plugged into that 24/7.
Yeah.
And Melissa is a great cow person. She's looking at those genomic values on paper, but she's also looking at families, and she's out walking your group of cows, making sure that what we're doing makes sense for your particular group of cows. And the CentralStar team and the other cooperative teams just do such a great job at being plugged in on that. And it really is a partnership relationship to try and get a straw of semen into a cow at the end of the day.
So true.
As we progress forward, what do either of you see as areas you want to focus on improving, both health-wise or production-wise? Where is the next goal that we're setting for Lumax?
We're going to keep pushing the envelope on picking out the highest HHP sires that we can, and really pushing for more combined fat and protein and daughter pregnancy rate to keep kind of us moving up. It's
really fun especially starting to see some of these next gen ones come around, starting to milk and how they look, and it's going to be really fun the next move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really
And
is.
it really is a fun farm to both sit down and look at what some of these cows are doing on paper. I mean, from some of these young 2-year-olds that take off like rockets, as well as some of the gold medal dams that are still out there in the barn, working very hard, and just to walk cows physically here. I mean, just a herd with immense width and strength and power and capacity, and cows that are built to do the job that they're being asked to do is pretty cool. So we really applaud the selection and the breeding of the cows that you guys have in the barn. As we continue to move forward, we continue as a company to focus more on health traits, and this data continues to get better and better. We continue to learn more. How are you coupling any health trait selection with your management? You know, what technologies are you using to help manage health on the farm side?
So yeah, it's been a goal. We're getting closer and closer, but it's been a goal to get under 100,000 somatic cell, right? You know, and I think genetic plays a role in that. You know, I remember the days where we were over 250, over 300. You know, so it's taken a while. You know, we're cleaning things up, but that's one of the goals that we're like. I would love to get under 100,000. We'll get some popping through every so often, but we're probably average about 130, 140, so we're close. But it just seems like the carrot's just right there.
And that's one of the things that makes us so excited about these young 2-year-olds coming in that were selected off of herd health profit dollars. The mastitis resistance and somatic cell score portion of that formula, we're excited to really see that pop off and kick that down here.
Well, that's the neat part, is like, where's it going to end, right? There's already some information on displaced abomasums and some other health traits that are coming down the pipe. So it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, and as labor becomes more expensive, antibiotics, drugs become more expensive, and cattle become more expensive. I mean, our production and raising costs are increasing. The healthier we can make these cows, the healthier we can make our budget on the farm side. And we really want to push them genetically so that the management practices that we're putting in all the work on have a good cow to work with. And it's really cool to watch you guys here do a really good job with cow side health and individual attention to cows. What do you tell your team to get them to buy in on that focus of, we need to take care of individual cows here?
Yeah, it's what pushes us forward, right? It gets us better, right? From not only a financial standpoint, but just being a good dairyman, right? It's just all part of the circle of taking care of those animals. They'll take care of you. It's pretty simple. You know, I say it's simple, but it's a lot of work that goes in to make that happen. And my guys they do it. We're pretty detailed here. Like I can be sort of anal a little bit about that stuff, but we're a pretty detailed farm, and the details matter here, and I think that's what sort of sets us apart. And my guys make it happen. They know.
Yeah, I think the detail-oriented team here makes a huge difference with a lot of other things you guys are already doing right to raise you up to the cream of the crop. Melissa, what other things do you see Lumax focusing on here, either genetically or management-wise, that you think really helps set them apart from some other herds?
Well, something that I noticed with Aaron when I started working here is that he treats every person that walks onto the farm kind of like a friend, like a family member. And so it kind of makes you feel like your job is important. And so I think that that's really why everyone here really is so dead set on getting those details dialed in. So I think from a management standpoint, that's really what Aaron is doing different that sets him apart from a lot of my other dairymen, is just really making everyone feel important.
Well, thank you. I do enjoy doing that. Like when I introduce like someone to the hoof trimmer, I'm like, this is the best hoof trimmer in the United States right here. Like I just go full blow out on the hoof trimmer, you know, and or whoever. Like no one makes cows better than Melissa, and, you know. So I just really get everyone and they go home like, oh my gosh, is that really the best hoof trimmer in the United States? You know, so it's sort of fun. We have a good time around here, and this makes my job easier, to be honest with you.
No, it's a good place to come when you need to feel motivated about getting excited about dairy farming for the day. And I definitely feel that, whether I come up here to look at cows because I want to see some cows that really rev my engine, or to talk to people that are excited to be here doing it. It's a wonderful place to come, and it's pretty cool that we can couple that atmosphere with the crazy reproduction quality that we're achieving here at Lumax.